Hello everyone. So today's video is a correction to a video that I just released recently, which was about how to have your client-side browser communicate with your Liveview and send it the time zone information of the client so that you can reformat displayed time zones in the local time zone of the user instead of as UTC. If you want to keep all of your code UTC agnostic and not necessarily, and just be able to do this on the fly. Okay, so the way that we did it, if you recall, was we set up a hook, which you can see here. We set up a hook, and the hook was used as a communication medium to send information back to the socket. Now, it turns out you don't need to do that. The problem with doing it this way is that there are 3 round trips required. So the first round trip is the HTTP connection. The second round trip is the mount connection, which happens when the Liveview's live socket gets created and makes a WebSocket connection over to your server. And the third time is when that hook, the DOM component to which the hook is mounted, itself gets mounted to the DOM, which triggers the mounted callback here. So we can do this without, as one of my viewers pointed out, we can do this without using the hooks at all. And so what I'm going to show you is how to change the code so that instead of using hooks, we're just going to directly send the time zone information over to the server in 2 round trips. So it'll happen on the mount callback in the Liveview as soon as the WebSocket connection is created. Okay, so since we're not going to be using hooks, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this content here and pull it out, and then we're just going to nuke all of this hooks code here. So make this const, and then we can also delete this hooks. And what we're going to do is we're going to smuggle this time zone into this params field here. So you can see here the params field is only set the CRSF token, and let's just go ahead and do time zone. All right. So that should be able to put our time zone data into the socket payload, and it should show up in the data that we have on the Liveview side. Now, as it is right now, we're not capturing that data in any fashion. So naturally, if you take a look, the Liveview now shows the time in Zulu, which is UTC time. Okay, so let's go to the Liveview. First thing we're going to do is go ahead and delete this hook because we don't need it anymore. And the next thing I'm going to do is we're going to take a look at the stuff that we got in our mount function. And we expect it to be somewhere here. The trick that I'm going to use is the binding macro, which will go ahead and show you it will show you the contents of all of the variables that are bound at that location. So we should see params, session, and socket. This saves us from having to dbg all 3 of those variables. All right, so let's go ahead and refresh and take a look at what showed up down here. So params didn't have anything in it, session didn't have anything in it, and the socket doesn't seem to have anything in it. But I think it's important to remember that socket is a struct, and structs can hide data. As you can see with this ... ellipses at the bottom of the inspect of the socket. So let's go ahead and make sure that we can see that. And the way we do that is with structs false. Okay. And then let's refresh it so that to re-trigger the mount event. And here we can see the contents of this struct. And lo and behold, you can see here inside of the private field of socket, we've got connect params, and the connect params has this time zone here. Now, the thing to note is that because this is in the private field of the socket, we probably really shouldn't be counting on this connect params to be to really exist. The maintainers of Liveview may change this as they please, which is the reason why private was hidden. You're of course free to use private in your own way and smuggle data into a socket in the private fields. But generally speaking, it's probably going to be a better idea to use the assigns for that sort of a thing. Okay, so how are we going to get this time zone America, Indiana, Tell City value out of this private data? Well, the Liveview has provided us with a get connect params function. So what we're going to do is we're just going to call get connect params, and we are going to just dbg that. And so let's go ahead and do that right now. Okay. And so here you can see two things have happened. One, we did a get connect params of the socket on the HTTP request, and of course there was nothing in there because no JavaScript had been executed. And then in this case, we did get connect params on the Liveview, and it did retrieve all of those values that we saw previously in that connect params field of the private field of the struct. All right, so what we're going to do is this. So we're going to do if time zone equals time equals. So in the case of where we're doing the HTTP connection, the time zone value is going to be nil, and so we're just going to set that to datetime.utc now, as we had before. In the case where we are making the Liveview connection, what we can do is we can just go ahead and do the shift zone trick here, and that will also allow us to eliminate this callback. So because this connect params will have this time zone field, that gets assigned to time zone, and then we can perform a shift zone on that, and then assign that directly to time. And now we've done this entire process in one shot. And if we take a look at the refreshed value, we'll see first we'll get the Zulu time, and then as soon as the WebSocket connects, it should switch over to my local time. At least I think it will. Nope, we had a crash. Ah. There we go. And there you can see that it will shift over to the local time zone. Okay, so that is how to communicate from the client back to the server the time zone of the client. Hope that helps you, and enjoy coding with more efficient Liveview techniques.